Good morning, homesteaders. Hope you are well. Today we are going to talk about 8 ways that we personally keep our chickens as healthy as we possibly can. Let's talk about it. There are a lot of things that you can do to keep your chickens healthy, and that means alive in general. So one thing you need for that is shelter, because shelter is security for chickens. You are going to need a sturdy coop. Now, it doesn't have to be like this one. It can be anything, as long as it's predator proof and you can lock it up to keep your chickens safe. So this shed is nothing special. It's just something that I bought at Lowe's, and it serves 2 purposes anyway. But inside there's some important things that I want to show you that keep our chickens healthy. And one of those things is to provide good roosting space for them and the proper amount of space inside of your coop. Now, there's a lot of debate on roosting bar size, but the spacing is important and the height is important. So as long as you're getting them up off the ground and staggering the roosting bars if you have a lot of chickens so they don't defecate on each other, that's super important. And those roosting bars need to be in a different location than your nesting boxes. And your nesting boxes need to be lower than your roosting bars. Providing good nesting space for your chickens is important. Now, there's a certain formula for number of chickens and number of nesting spaces available, but I'll tell you from the start, they never adhere to that. They always try to go in the exact same spot no matter how many chickens you have. We have 10 hens and they always lay in this box, not in this one over here, and they always lay on the same side of this box. It's pretty hysterical. Let's go over now cleanliness. Now we're inside of our coop. You need to keep it clean. Chickens can be incredibly messy, and you need to have proper access to the coop to clean it out. So of course, with this shed, we have these big doors and we can just get in here really easily to clean it out. And down here, I built this kind of pull-out shelf, and that is under the roosting bars. So that's when they are going the most, is at night and sitting up there, and I can just pull it out pretty easily and clean it. Now, to help keep these clean, you can see this powder on here, and that's called PDZ. That's more of a coop disinfectant, but it also helps dry up any mites that are around and on your roosting bars. And that is a super important part of keeping your chickens healthy, is keeping your roosting bars clean. You can see these roosting bars are fairly clean, and there's an easy way to check for mites on them when they are clean, and that's to rub your finger over the top of it. And if you smash your finger on it and see any blood, it means there's some mites there that have been eating on your chickens. But most of their waste goes over the edge and kind of hits the wall and falls down into the tray. Now, this is something important to provide for your chickens. We do have a dust bath here, and this contains food-grade diatomaceous earth. And since it is food-grade, you can mix that with your feed if you choose for some internal parasite control for your chickens. But the one that we have in here is exclusively for them to be able to get a dust bath to get off any mites or lice that are on them, or to prevent it. Now, your chickens will naturally do that outside as well. They love to dig holes to give themselves dust baths. But if you don't have a space that's big enough for them to do that, then you might need something available for them inside, and DE is the best for them. This is the outdoor space where they like to give themselves dust baths, and it works well for us because we have very sandy soil. And you can see down under here, they are quite protected from anything above. Okay, another important part for your chickens is to have an adequate source of water all the time. Of course, every living creature needs water, and you need to provide good clean water for your chickens for them to stay healthy. The reason why I have it in here is because if I leave the water outside, it tends to grow algae in it. But in here it's dark, so it is not growing anything inside of here, which is really helpful. I always strive my hardest to keep water inside. Now, as you can see behind me, we have a plain floor. There's just the wood. It's a treated plywood on the bottom. And I do not put any bedding in with our chickens. And the reason that I don't put bedding in this coop is just because it gets too messy. And there's adequate space in here for them to defecate at night, and it doesn't really impact things that much. It kind of dries out, and if you had a bedding in here, it's gonna hold moisture in to that chicken poop that's constantly being produced. So In my opinion, it's better to not have bedding in your coop. Any bedding, no matter what it is, whether it's straw or hay or some sort of pine shavings or cedar shavings, it doesn't matter. It's all going to hold that moisture in there, and that's going to breed mites and lice. So I say forget it and get it out. That's everything inside of the coop. Now let's talk about the outside of the coop. And friends, as always, we have our t-shirts linked below the video. So there's many different colors, men's, women's, kids, all of the above. If you want to support the channel that way, we'd really appreciate it. As I mentioned earlier, security is also chicken health. So for your coop, you want a good automatic door. If you don't come out and close it every night, you can do that also, but have a good door that secures them inside the coop at night. So you can see several other things happening out here. You can see things that are grown up around the coop, and I let that happen for a reason. One of those reasons is shade from the hot sun, especially down here in Texas. And then also, it offers them protection from overhead predators during the day. Now, I do have my dogs patrolling the property, but if a hawk wanted to get one of them, it could. That's why offering them overhead protection in the form of these bushes that I let grow up is important. Chickens are normally very destructive to the ground in the area where you keep them. That is why you need a large space, a large run for them for the number of chickens that you have. We have one electric fence. It's 164 feet long and it surrounds them. I know some people in tight spaces can't do that, but this provides them enough space where there's still grass growing over there and we can let this grow up for them. And if you don't have a run that's big enough to give you the opportunity to let those bushes grow up and provide shade and overhead protection, you can put some artificial means there. This is just a cheap cage that I got on Amazon, and it's covered over and it's always open, and they can go in there and come back out if necessary. But what it also serves as is a quarantine for any sick birds if I do have them. And it's also helpful if you have a bully bird or a hen that likes to eat her eggs. You can put them in there for a time being to try to correct their behavior. Of course, the last and most important one is proper diet for your chickens. My chicken's diet consists of numerous different things, and it's important to provide some variety for them. The two most important nutrients are calcium and protein. They need protein for good growth and egg production, and the calcium for the shell production. And if you want strong shells on your eggs, they need to have a diet high in calcium. You can do that through numerous different ways. One of those is by giving them leafy greens. Besides leafy greens, there are some chicken treats that are very high in calcium. One of those is black soldier fly larvae. We have been using this brand for many, many years, and the chickens love them. And the cool thing about this company is they use recycled waste from grocery stores and restaurants to grow their soldier fly larvae. So they're taking that out of the waste stream, which is pretty cool. Black soldier fly larvae are the highest in calcium of any insect out there. So that's what they're getting when they are eating this, is a good dose of calcium. I did an entire video on that subject in the past. If you're interested in that, click the link at the top of the screen. There's a few other ways to get good amounts of calcium into their diet and get grit for them as well. Now, out here they're always pecking on the ground, so they're getting grit for their gizzard all the time. You can get them some crushed oyster shell, and I do throw some of this in here occasionally in the areas where they're normally used to eating things like that. This is chicken scratch. Now, it's basically just a mix of grains, and you don't want to give too much to your chickens. You know, I made that mistake in the past because there's a lot of corn in here, cracked corn, and that can really fatten up your chickens. Now, you might think that's a good thing, but if they get too much of it, then they can get a disease on the inside. I'll list it right here. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head right now, but it causes a lot of fat around their internal organs. Almost starts to replace all of their muscle inside, so it's really not good for them. Only in small amounts. That's why it's called scratch. They need to scratch around for it. And here's the last one. We do give them a good organic non-GMO layer pellet. We get that one at our local feed store. It's made by Texas Naturals, and it's always done well for us. If you can, make it organic, at least non-GMO, because all that extra garbage they put in it is unnecessary for the chickens. And these are nice. If you haven't seen our video on making these, we can fill these up for our 11 chickens, and we won't have to do it again for another roughly week and a half to 2 weeks. Now, if you want, you can also give them scrap fruits and vegetables. Just be careful which ones you are giving them, because some can be toxic for chickens. We did a video on that in the past as well. Please click on this link at the top of the screen to see that. But we usually give them all the scraps from the kitchen, the melon scraps, the broccoli stems, the carrot tops, all of that kind of stuff. And that only helps contribute to their health, especially if you are in an area where you have to have a smaller run and it's basically all dirt floor at this point. We can't really free range our chickens just because of one of our dogs, but this serves as a feast for them. We've got a lot of bugs that are in these shade plants as well, these little bushes, and there's a lot of grass for the chickens to eat. So those are all the ways that we are helping our chickens to stay healthy. So if you are a new chicken owner or just getting into chickens, keep all of those things in mind. If this video has been helpful for you, please like the video and subscribe to our channel and leave us a comment down in the comment section. Now go click on this video right here, which shows you exactly how we built that DIY hands-off automatic waterer for our chicken coop. Have a beautiful, blessed day. We'll see you next time. Bye.